a review of Metallica, April 24th, 2025, in Toronto at the Rogers Center. So, yeah, it's 7:37 the next morning. Let's throw a little review together. So I went to this with my buddy Tim Henderson, bravewords.com. We had Brave Words and Bloody Knuckles all those years, right? Went out for a couple drinks before. So yeah, suicidal tendencies, pretty compromised lineup. It's Mike Muir kind of only in that band, and then Pantera supporting, so good strong support lineup. So Metallica, what happens here? So this is the Rogers Center. Tim and I saw them at the Rogers Center years and years ago as well. I think Limp Bizkit was supporting and somebody else. I saw that club gig here in Toronto at the Opera House as well, and back to 86 Maple Leaf Gardens and one or two other times. So they played this our big stadium. It was absolutely packed. You know, the usual kind of packed where you see seats kind of all over the place, empty, but I mean all the way to the top, all the way around. It was basically packed, more packed than I've kind of ever seen the place, right? Yeah, pretty crazy with the intro music, getting to hear things like Tigers of Pantang, Insanity from the debut coming through the PA, and there was some early Maiden, it might have been Killers. But you know, as it kicks off, we get the long, the full version of It's a Long Way to the Top if you want to rock and roll. That sounded good. You get Ecstasy of Gold. Kicked off with Creeping Death. You know, we were not particularly far away or particularly close. We were at the 100 levels. And so this is all in the round. What does the ticket say here? It says there's the ticket. So Metallica in the round on the diamond. They were handing out these things too. Scan to get how does that work? Scan, peel off and scan to win signed vinyl. I might do that. I don't know. I'm not a big scan guy. I don't really have done much of that on my phone. But yeah, so the sound quality was typical kind of stadium quality. It was not the greatest. I think what helped it, well, I mean, okay, so it was muddy and reverby and loud and distorted. But what helped it was you got definitely a good whack out of Lars's snare. You got good bass drum. And the guitars, this is the thing that really struck me. My memory of seeing them at Maple Leaf Gardens in 1986 or 7. And yeah, I can always never quite remember, but I'm pretty sure that John Marshall from Metal Church played guitars on that show, right? Anyways, in lieu of James, he had an injury, I believe. Yeah, my memory is filmy of that. But what I do remember was the aggression in the guitars. There's just kind of like an angry quality to the guitar sound all the way back to 1986 that seems to have come through, at least in this concert last night. And that's pretty impressive. You hear it out of the rhythms, you hear it out of Kirk as well, Kirk's rhythms. I would say the solos couldn't really get the solos coming through all that great. The screens were really cool. It's the big tubular screens that are all around, and they were very thoughtfully shot. Yeah, beautiful job of that. In fact, sometimes they would even have effects put on them. But yeah, kicked off with Creeping Death and into Harvester of Sorrow, Holier Than Thou from the Black Album, then Came Nothing from Load. So it's a little bit obscure to kind of kick it off. 72 Seasons, then If Darkness Had a Sun, also from 72 Seasons. So 2 from that. And then there was the Kirk and Rob Doodle, Murph the Surf, Suicide Redemption, a click track, anyways, a backing track, drum track. Lars was not drumming for this. I was not too impressed with this. It sounded kind of it was a heavy thing. It was a heavy riffing thing. Rob was brought up in the mix and Rob was playing a lot. It sounded kind of like out of tune or dissonant or something. I don't know. It was quite strange. I remember thinking that it would have been it almost would have been cooler if they both played something mellow together and played some sort of jazz fusion-y kind of thing, like something that showed off they're playing that way, because in a big stomping riffing situation, in a stadium like that, it was not particularly clear. Man, my neck hurts. At my age, my neck hurts not from headbanging, but it's from walking, standing, and sitting. So and then the highlight of the show, absolutely, Tim kind of thought so as well. The Day That Never Comes from Death Magnetic. I mean, that song has really come forward as, you know, from this trio of albums. It really lives on as I think it's the best semi ballad that they have. It was amazing. And here you really see how James is just firing on all cylinders as a vocalist right now. He is singing amazingly, great power, hitting all the notes, and really kind of means it. And he's got, I don't know, he just sells the vocals. The vocals are so good. Shadows Follow from 72 Seasons. So a good chunk from 72 Seasons. Not a single Hardwired to Self-Destruct song. And I'll go into the set list a little bit later. But Orion was a little bit of a surprise. Nothing Else Matters started with a little bit of a Kirk playing a little bit of mellow stuff, which was kind of cool. And again, kind of dissonant, kind of weird. Sad But True from the Black Album. Now, this is a funny thing where Lars, you know, we've often talked, you know, I remember bringing this up with a lot of rock stars all the time, but as they get older, as we all get older, I think you become a greater caricature of yourself. And Lars, it seems all the time he's getting even more and more shifting the beat around, going into fills early, really challenging the song to fall apart. And I really noticed it in Sad But True. Then Fight Fire with Fire. Now, this was a surprise. This again took me back to 1986, because although a lot of these songs seemed maybe a little faster or roughly the same, Fight Fire with Fire being one of their fastest songs, they basically played it faster again. And it was so incredibly tight from a guitar point of view. But again, when it comes to the drums, Lars is always, he's threatening to have these songs fall apart, because at times you almost think that the framing accents that would be needed to be stuck in there to keep the band on track and to keep the fans understanding what's going on in these complicated songs, he will lean off those, and you won't get the snare whacking the same way. It'll be the glancing I'm on to the next thing snare from Lars, which is hilarious, right? But yeah, the guitars were just incredibly, again, just aggressive and angry sounding guitars. So that sounded really cool. And then Fuel, same kind of thing. Fuel, just like Sad But True. You know, this song is written, it's framed to have Lars challenge the beat and stuff. I mean, Lars is a super innovative drummer. But a lot of what is part of Lars's signature is that dialogue between snare and hi-hat and bass drum, and a lot of snare fills and a lot of starting the fills early. And he does a lot of that all over Fuel as well. Seek and Destroy, the beach balls come down, the M72 beach balls, and they're bouncing all over the place. Sometimes they're getting on stage, sometimes not. They're still around for Master of Puppets. We get a Toronto, did you have a good time tonight? And they kind of jam it out with a slight variation. And Metallica Loves Toronto. Lights Are On. You know, and that's it. And you know, the interesting thing about this set list is that no Enter Sandman, no Unforgiven, no For Whom the Bell Tolls, no Fade to Black, nothing from Hardwired, nothing from Saint Anger, no Until It Sleeps. Pretty crazy set list, right? You know, if you think about kind of like the overall structure of it, it's dropping down for a song or two on almost every album, kind of thing. So that was kind of cool. So yeah, and like I say, the screens were amazing. It was in the round. They would have these constant, these breaks where the guys would disappear and the drums would pop up in a different location. And Lars had, that's the other funny thing that I thought it was amusing and it kept us all interested, is so many different guitars and basses all the time, like just constant change in what the guitars, and they had cool designs on them and they were all different colors and stuff. So there was a lot of that going on. But yeah, you'd have these breaks and they'd come up elsewhere because it's a ring. It had the pit. It seemed to be a little was it a little off center of the Rogers? I don't know, something about it seemed like it was shoved to one side. And I didn't see any I guess there's no kind of mixing board thing needed. You don't really see where the amps and stuff are. I don't even remember noticing where the sound was coming from. But yeah, a lot of little these tubular screens all over the place. Sometimes they played, like production video footage, but often just great camera work on the guys. You spent a lot of time kind of looking at that because they were kind of far away. But yeah, great show, and thanks to Tim for taking me to this. It was really cool. And yeah. Very, very thoughtful set list. Metallica, Rogers Center, April 24th, 2025.